Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott share a bond that spanned decades, starting with their early days in the Fox New Talent program and continuing through iconic westerns like The Sacketts and The Shadow Riders. But Selleck recently revealed a startling insight about Elliott that even longtime fans didn't see coming. In a candid moment, Selleck described Elliott as someone who always but admitted there's more to his friend's success than grit and a deep voice. What secret about Elliott's rise to stardom has Selleck kept hidden all these years? Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott, two iconic figures of Hollywood, didn't just stumble upon fame overnight. Their early careers tell a story of determination, grit, and a little bit of serendipity that brought their paths together long before the Shadow Riders cemented their on-screen partnership. These two men, each with his own rugged charm, were carving out their places in the industry in ways that would eventually make them legends. Let's start with Sam Elliott. You can't think of a cowboy or hear his deep, gravelly voice without picturing him. But Elliott's journey began in far humbler settings. In 1969, he landed a small but memorable role in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where he played a card player. While his part was brief, sharing the screen with stars like Robert Redford and Paul Newman left an impression, not just on audiences but on the filmmakers who noticed his undeniable screen presence. Elliott quickly became a go-to character actor, perfectly suited for the Western genre. His roles in TV shows like Judd for the Defense and Lancer showcased his rugged looks and natural ease in front of the camera. Even when his parts were small, Elliott had a way of commanding attention. He wasn't just playing cowboys, he was the cowboy, a natural fit for the genre that defined much of his early career. By the early 1970s, Elliott was appearing in shows like Mission, Impossible, and even commercials, such as his stint as the cowboy walker in Falstaff beer ads. These roles, while not headline-grabbing, were building blocks for a career that would eventually shine in larger productions. His first major breakthrough came with Lifeguard in 1976, where he played a man questioning his life choices, a role that proved Elliott could carry a film with more depth than just his looks. Tom Selleck's rise to fame, on the other hand, took a slightly different route. Long before the mustache became his trademark, Selleck was trying to break into Hollywood after a stint in the California Army National Guard. In fact, his military service during the Vietnam War shaped much of the discipline and resilience that would later define his career. He started with small appearances, including as a contestant on The Dating Game, a far cry from the leading roles he would later take on. Selleck's early days were filled with commercial work. You might have seen him pitching products like Pepsi Cola or Revlon's Chaz Cologne, or even popping up in toothpaste ads. While these jobs weren't glamorous, they gave him the exposure and experience he needed to keep moving forward. He also made appearances in TV shows, including a recurring role on The Rockford Files, where he played the charming private investigator Lance White. His mix of humor and charisma hinted at the leading man he was destined to become. By the late 1970s, Selleck was starting to land bigger roles, including Daughters of Satan, a low-budget horror film that gave him a taste of the spotlight. But it wasn't until 1979's The Sacketts that Selleck found his niche in westerns. The film, based on Louis L'Amour's novel, paired Selleck with none other than Sam Elliott for the first time. The chemistry between the two was immediate. As they portrayed brothers Orrin and Tel Sackett, their dynamic felt effortless. The audience loved them, and it was clear this duo was something special. What made their partnership work so well was how different they were. Selleck had a natural charm and humor that made him approachable, while Elliott brought a quiet intensity and grit that grounded their scenes. Together, they created a balance that elevated the story, making it more than just another Western. But The Sacketts was only the beginning. Elliott continued to build his reputation with roles in TV miniseries like Once an Eagle, where he played Sam Damon, a character that showcased his ability to convey deep emotion and strength. Around the same time, Selleck was transitioning into the iconic role of Thomas Magnum in Magnum P.I., a part that would catapult him to superstardom. While Selleck was becoming a household name, Elliott was establishing himself as the reliable, rugged character actor everyone wanted in their cast. Despite their rising careers, the two actors never lost sight of their shared love for westerns. When the opportunity came to work together again in The Shadow Riders, it felt like destiny. The project was another Louis L'Amour adaptation, promising action, drama, and a chance for Selleck and Elliott to bring their unique chemistry back to the screen. But The Shadow Riders was more than just a reunion. It was a chance for both men to revisit the genre that had given them some of their earliest successes. It was also an opportunity to show how much they had grown as actors since the Sacketts. By this point, both Selleck and Elliott were established stars in their own right, yet they came together as equals, ready to bring something special to the film. What made The Shadow Riders so unique was its timing. Westerns were no longer the dominant force in Hollywood they had been in earlier decades. By the 1980s, the genre had shifted, with many filmmakers turning to grittier, more revisionist tales of the Old West. Yet The Shadow Riders managed to blend the classic Western elements with a more mature take on life after the Civil War. This was a story of two brothers, Mac, played by Selleck, and Dal, played by Elliott, who had served on opposite sides of the war. Their reunion wasn't just about family, but also about navigating the complexities of a fractured nation. Mac and Dal Traven are as different as brothers can be. Mac, a Union officer, is outgoing, witty, and quick with a joke. Selleck brought his natural charm to the role, making Mac the perfect foil for Dal's more stoic and introspective demeanor. Elliott, with his rugged looks and deep voice, made Dal a character you couldn't take your eyes off. Together, they created a dynamic that kept you invested in their journey from start to finish. The story kicks off with Dal narrowly escaping execution by Confederate forces. His decision to leave behind the remnants of the war and return home is a powerful opening that sets the tone for the film. On his way, he encounters Mac, who has also decided it's time to go back to Texas. Their meeting is laced with humor and warmth, showing that despite fighting on opposite sides, their bond as brothers remains unbroken. When the brothers arrive home, they're met with devastation. Their family's property has been looted, and their sisters, younger brother Jesse and Dal's girlfriend Kate, have been kidnapped by Confederate raiders led by the ruthless Major Ashbury. This plot twist catapults the brothers into action, giving the film its driving force. Selleck and Elliott brought layers of authenticity to their roles, drawing on their personal experiences and their shared history in Westerns. Selleck's portrayal of Mac highlighted a character who could be both lighthearted and fiercely determined. Whether trading quips with Dal or riding headlong into danger, Selleck's charisma shone through, making Mac a character you couldn't help but root for. Elliott, meanwhile, infused Dal with a quiet intensity that balanced Mac's exuberance. His scenes with Kate, played by his real-life wife, Catherine Ross, added an emotional depth to the film. Their relationship felt genuine, filled with the kind of tension and tenderness that made you care about their outcome. Dal's internal struggle, reconciling his love for Kate with his sense of duty and his past choices, added another layer to the story. The supporting cast also deserves a mention. Jeff Osterhage, who played Jesse, was the perfect complement to Selleck and Elliott, bringing youthful energy to the mix. And Ben Johnson, as Uncle Jack, stole every scene he was in with his rough-around-the-edges wisdom and humor. The ensemble cast created a world that felt alive and rich with history, making The Shadow Riders more than just a typical Western adventure. The action sequences were another standout feature. From horseback chases to the final showdown on a speeding train, the film delivered thrilling moments that kept viewers on the edge of their seats. One particularly memorable scene involved Mac and Dal racing on horseback to catch the train carrying their kidnapped sisters. The choreography and stunts were top-notch, a testament to director Andrew V. McLaglin's skill and the dedication of the cast and crew. Filming locations played a significant role in bringing the story to life. The sweeping landscapes of Texas and Mexico, combined with the authentic period details, created an immersive experience. Whether it was the dusty trails, bustling camps, or the dramatic train scenes, every frame felt like a window into another time. What truly set The Shadow Riders apart was its exploration of post-war anxieties. The film didn't shy away from the lingering tensions of the Civil War, but it also didn't let those tensions overshadow the central theme of family. Mac and Dal's ability to put their differences aside for the greater good was a reflection of the resilience and unity needed to rebuild a fractured nation. You could tell these weren't just two actors going through the motions. They genuinely enjoyed working together. That energy translated to the screen, making their partnership one of the highlights of the film. After The Shadow Riders, both Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott found themselves at pivotal moments in their careers, their paths diverging but remaining tied to their shared passion for storytelling and their enduring friendship. For Tom Selleck, the years following The Shadow Riders were transformative. He landed his iconic role as Thomas Magnum in Magnum P.I., a show that not only skyrocketed his fame, but also cemented his place in pop culture history. Playing the laid-back private investigator with a penchant for Hawaiian shirts and a dazzling smile, Selleck became a household name. Selleck's charm on screen was matched by his down-to-earth approach off-camera. His personal life, though kept private, reflected his grounded nature. In 1987, fresh off the success of 3 Men and a Baby, Selleck secretly married Jilly Mack in a quiet ceremony that could have been lifted from a romantic comedy. Disguised to avoid detection, the couple exchanged vows in a Lake Tahoe chapel with only close family present. The clandestine wedding wasn't about eluding fans, but about preserving a personal memory they could treasure. At the same time, Selleck never strayed far from his love for westerns. He openly credits projects like The Sackets and The Shadow Riders for sparking this passion, and he pursued it further with films like Quigley Down Under. This Australian-set western became one of his most cherished projects, blending action with an exploration of morality and justice in the outback. Selleck has often expressed his admiration for the western genre, calling it a quintessentially American form of storytelling. For him, westerns are about more than cowboys and gunfights. They're about the land, the people, and the values they represent. Meanwhile, Sam Elliott remained as steadfast as ever, continuing to balance his unmistakable gravitas with an openness that endeared him to fans and colleagues alike. His deep voice and commanding presence made him a natural fit for westerns, but he never allowed himself to be typecast. Elliott's ability to convey complex emotions with just a glance or a pause set him apart, allowing him to take on roles that resonated deeply, even when they weren't center stage. Elliott's career didn't rely on the glitz of blockbuster hits. Instead, he became a symbol of authenticity in Hollywood, the kind of actor whose mere presence could elevate a project. From his work in Murder in Texas to A Death in California, he proved time and again that he could bring nuance and depth to any role. Elliott was, and remains, an actor's actor, someone who takes his craft seriously but doesn't let it overshadow his humility. The bond between Selleck and Elliott continued to grow, rooted in mutual respect and a shared history. In interviews, Selleck often describes Elliott as someone who knew exactly who he was, even in the early days of their careers. That self-assuredness left a lasting impression on Selleck, who admired Elliott's dedication and unshakable sense of identity. Elliott, in turn, praises Selleck for his work ethic and generosity, both on and off the set. As Selleck's career evolved, he expanded his horizons beyond westerns and detective dramas. His role as Frank Reagan in Blue Bloods brought him back into the homes of millions, this time as the stoic and principled patriarch of a family steeped in law enforcement. The show became a cultural touchstone, blending procedural drama with heartfelt family dynamics. Despite his success, Selleck never lost sight of his roots. In his memoir, You Never Know, he reflects on his journey with humility and gratitude. The book offers insights not just into his career, but also into his philosophy on life. One of the most striking aspects of the memoir is his advice to young actors: you have to choose to be offended. It's a reminder of Selleck's ability to stay grounded in an industry often rife with ego and conflict. For Elliott, the later years of his career brought a renaissance of sorts. His work in A Star is Born earned him critical acclaim and an Academy Award nomination, proving once again that his talent transcends genres. But even as he ventured into new territory, Elliott never abandoned his love for westerns. His role in 1883, the prequel to Yellowstone, allowed him to return to familiar terrain while exploring new emotional depths. Playing Shay Brennan, a character grappling with loss and redemption, Elliott delivered a performance that was as raw as it was powerful. The shared history of Selleck and Elliott is a testament to the enduring power of friendship and respect. They've both navigated the highs and lows of Hollywood with grace, and their mutual admiration continues to shine through. Whether reflecting on their early days in the Fox New Talent program or sharing stories from the sets of The Sacketts and The Shadow Riders, their bond remains as strong as ever. The legacy of The Shadow Riders remains a shining example of the timeless appeal of Westerns and the enduring camaraderie of Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott. Now, over 40 years later, the film is making its way back into the spotlight as it prepares to stream for free on Tubi starting January 1, 2025. Based on Louis L'Amour's novel, The Shadow Riders takes viewers on a thrilling journey with two brothers, Dal and Mac Traven, played by Elliott and Selleck. While The Shadow Riders may not be the project most associated with either actor, its influence on their careers and their enduring love for the genre is undeniable. For Selleck, this film was another step in his journey to becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. His breakout role as Thomas Magnum on Magnum P.I. had already launched him into superstardom by this time, but The Shadow Riders kept his connection to Westerns alive, a genre he would revisit with fan favorites like Quigley Down Under and Last Stand at Sabre River. For Elliott, The Shadow Riders showcased the brooding intensity and quiet strength that would come to define his career. His later roles in Tombstone, The Big Lebowski, and the critically acclaimed 1883 proved he was more than just a Western icon. He was a versatile performer capable of elevating every story he touched. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of The Shadow Riders lies in how it highlights the bond between Selleck and Elliott. Their friendship and mutual respect have remained constants over decades in an industry known for fleeting connections. Whether discussing their early days in the Fox New Talent program or collaborating on set, they've never stopped supporting each other. It's this bond that continues to make their work resonate with fans across generations. Now, with The Shadow Riders streaming for free on Tubi, a new audience will get the chance to experience the magic of Selleck and Elliott's partnership. The movie is a reminder of a time when Westerns were a cornerstone of American entertainment, blending action, drama, and heartfelt storytelling in a way that still feels relevant today. As fans revisit or discover for the first time this classic film, it's impossible not to appreciate the unique place it holds in both actors' storied careers. It's a tribute to their talents, their dedication, and their enduring love for a genre that continues to captivate audiences. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the story behind The Shadow Riders and the incredible careers of Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories like this one. And make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.